So, I mean, to dive into like the X's and O's of the game, who do you have winning and why?
I'm definitely taking the Rams. I'm going Rams by maybe a touchdown. I think it's going to come down to who makes the first mistake. I think it's going to be pretty much a high scoring game. Maybe, I don't know, 28-35, something of that magnitude, maybe 35-31. 35-31. Uh, I think Kyler's probably going to have at least 2 turnovers. There are times when he is rushed or put in different situations. He tends to put the ball in a bad spot or make a bad play decision, whether that's him scrambling and fumbling or whether that's him putting the ball in a bad spot. So I think Kyler has probably a turnover or two, and I think that's going to lead the Rams to kind of go down the field and score. I don't know about last minute in terms of like final 3 minutes of the game, but I do think that the Rams hold off and are able to solidify a victory.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Rams, I think they actually win this one by probably, I'm going to say maybe like 7 to 10 points. And the one thing that I've been looking about with the Cardinals the last couple weeks is they've kind of had their struggles the last 2 weeks in particular. They were in a dogfight against the Vikings in week 2 where they only won that game by 1 point. And then against the Jaguars last week in week 3, there was a point in time where they were down in that game and the Jags were kind of going toe to toe with them. Now, granted, they did make some adjustments going into the second half, and that's when they were able to kind of get some distance against the Jags to get that win. But Kyler was decent in that game, but he had no touchdowns passing in that game, and he had one interception and 300 yards. But it's kind of indicative of this team. It's like they're good for one half of football, and then in the second half, whether it's you know they play well in the first half of the game and they kind of slack off in the second, or vice versa. I haven't really seen a full consistent win outside of that week 1 win where they just absolutely beat the doors off the Titans. So in this matchup, I think the Cardinals are, if they're going to win this game, they need to play a full 60-minute effort, and they got to at least put up 30 points in this game, because I believe that the Rams are going to try to put up 30 like they did against the Bucs last weekend. The Rams know that they can attack this secondary, and they have the wideouts to do that. Cooper Kupp's been absolutely sensational this year. He's clearly Matt Stafford's number 1 target. I mean, Cooper Kupp had 2 touchdowns in that Bucs game last week, and I imagine it might be more of the same in this Cardinals matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Woods gets in the action, gets a couple catches here and there. Tyler Higbee as well. I believe he got his first touchdown of the year last year
Thank
in that
God for
Bucs
both of
matchup.
us.
Yeah, we have him in fantasy. And I think that they're going to try to utilize Sony Michel to a certain extent. I don't know if they're going to utilize him in the passing game, but I think there's been more of a consistent effort to try to get him the ball as far as getting touches on the ground. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets possibly maybe 15 touches on the ground. But they do have to contend against that pass rush, or excuse me, that front 4 that the Cardinals have with J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. So I think this is going to be a very highly powered offensive matchup between both teams. If I had to say, I always typically try to put a score on this. I think the Rams are going to put up kind of similar numbers to what they had against the Bucs last week. I'm going to say they put up, I'm going to say 35 points, and I think the Cardinals, they're going to put up 27. So I could see this being an 8-point game, but to be honest with you, I could see this possibly being, a 2-possession game, possibly even a 14-point game when it's all said and done. But I got the Rams this one. They look like the better team. They're at home, and I just think they're on a roll, especially after getting that big win against Tampa last week. And I think it's going to be more of the same in this matchup.